Here it comes. In 3 minutes, we're going to hear the bell ring. You know, the rain in this game really looks like those weird lines you see from, like, film getting scraped. As opposed to rain. Hey, buddy. Come, Bachelor. The Assembly is waiting your decision. The queens of this chessboard are in deadlock. They have each other pinned down. The game may very well end in a tragic stalemate. You are a pawn at the finishing line. Deliver your checkmate, mate. Do I hear laughter from under your ugly beak? Funny. Now everything will be decided. The Inquisitor lass seems to think she's used you. Confused? Don't you fret. She's also nothing. Everything was leading to this. You are now acting in the interest of inevitability. You can't get away from it. Evil conquers all. Make way. The gang's all here, huh? 6 of us. Alright. Welcome. You're welcome for doing your job for you like a boss.
The town can be cleansed. I know how to make enough panacea now.
Look at them. You see now that she is a victim. Do not paint her a demon. She is just honestly doing her duty, like you or me. You are protecting Aglaia. Do you really have something to say in her defense? I'm just still confused. What has she done to deceive you? Did she lie to you? Has she withheld the truth? I think you've learned everything you have without her help. Every conclusion you've made is on your own. The whole town was at your disposal. She had to protect the town at any cost. That was her purpose. And yet she tried to settle personal accounts with her deceased sister while claiming to fulfill a noble duty. Why? She came as a light-bringer capable of resolving all our misfortunes with the power of her intelligence, and ended up being a traitor that tried to sell me another lie under the guise of the ultimate truth. You're just holding a grudge, Oinen. Nothing more. You only feel betrayed because you've entrusted yourself to her. But that was your own choice. It's unwise to brand someone a savior beforehand and denounce them when they fail to live up to your expectations. Even though they didn't know you had them. I feel like she was pretty aware of her own role in this society. By the way, your face structure is really far off. It's a little distracting. You've got more of like a shaggy face, like from Scooby-Doo. Whereas you look exactly like the guy from Sense8. Like exactly the same. Spookily. She knew. That's the difference. She knew and exploited my hopes. You brought this on yourself. Don't try to get even with Aglaia. If you want to destroy the town and save the tower, only to get to her, and push her towards her demise, that would be unbecoming of you, Oinen. It is you who will turn into a spiteful puppeteer, driven by his thirst for revenge. It's not about revenge. I just want to keep my word and to fulfill my mission fairly.
However astute, you are unable to fathom the extent of the evil you're doing.
Well, are you planning to make up your mind anytime soon? Is it true the commander has acknowledged you as a heavenly harbinger and is now obeying your will? Would I ever have the right to be called a heavenly harbinger if I had my own will? Does the commander serve me? Oh, how stupid you are, Bachelor, when speaking of matters of this kind. The commander is a knight. His heart is sensitive in a very unique way. He has realized who is to be served now. And what is to happen to him now? I am not impartial to his fate, too. Are you afraid that he will die? Don't. The powers that be have in fact given his an order no less hypocritical than the one you've received. He will be spared, I think. They just need to find a new battle for him. So many fires, so many abysses he is to walk through, each of them eagerly prepared by the powers to become his grave. Yet he has overcome all hardships. With your help. Is that what you're trying to say, right? I shall accompany him everywhere. In every campaign I shall stand by his side, and he will always know where to strike, for that will not be a choice for him. Terrible and numerous will his foes be, yet his force is to become unconquerable, empowered by my spirit. So, you want to start a holy war? Under what banner? Who will believe you, changeling? Are you afraid that too much blood will be spilled before the light of truth triumphs over the world? Don't. Yes, guns will destroy many before this war is ended, but when it ends, it will end forever. All earthly kingdoms will unite and exist in consent, and there will be but one law. I shouldn't have brought you to the cathedral, changeling. Thankfully, I was smart enough to talk to you before making a decision. Yeah, she just sounds completely insane. Waging a holy war with her commander across the countryside. Also, thoroughly wasting her time as far as actually explaining to me how she's going to deal with the problem that we have, the disease. She just, like, didn't even bother explaining her point of view. You, I understand. I don't understand why your solution works. Somehow you're going to turn the polyhedron into panacea. But, yeah. If you can make enough to stop this disease, then okay. Although I question why you can't just use whatever they made why can't you just use whatever they made the polyhedron out of? Just go ask Stamaton where it came from, as the materials seems reasonable.
What?
I am indeed powerless. As you can see, I'm accused of having arranged your discovery. I've lost my vote of confidence, so tell them whose discovery it is, for the laurels are yours. Are you in doubt? Your diabolical deception was so simple. The cause and the source. It's so easy to put these very different things together, Inquisitor, but they are not the same. In this case, they are. It's strange that you have failed to see that. This place is a utopia, that is, an abuse of nature. The utopia must be destroyed. It's evil. What is a utopia, Aglaya? Let's talk for the last time. What is provoking your hatred so much? I am a humanitarian. My duty is to save people, not kill them. I only condemn a few to death for the sake of the many. Now I'm offering you to save the happiness of several thousands, hardly shedding any blood at all. A utopia will demand more and more sacrifices, you know. even this utopia. But why do you think this place is a utopia? Nobody conducts social experiments here. Look, this place is more natural than nature. Utopias are usually constructed to embody perfect justice, liberty, or economical thrift. This one, however, is different. This town is not a place that does not exist. It's a place that cannot exist, mustn't exist. Here's where the cause and the source are the same. Do elaborate on that, please. I'm still failing to understand where you see the root of all evil. Our country holds the absolute record on experimental utopia designs, and this is a feature that should be interpreted as its absolute virtue. Social masterpieces are rare, but they do happen, and they don't have to be accidental. Indeed. However, somehow they never seem to live too long. Now, at the dawn of the current century, there are almost none left. One gets the impression that there is no country, there's so many typos in the later parts of this game, there's no country that would imbue its inhabitants with inner force simply because they happen to inhabit it. There have been examples of this, but they've all been destroyed. Why? I do not know. Let's get back to the matter at hand. A wonderful town is suddenly beginning to die. No one knows why. Why this one? The one that has managed to produce a wonder? The most curious, the most mysterious, inhabited by the most talented people? What did they do to deserve this? I'll tell you. I'm all ears. At the persistent pleasure of the capricious powers that be, the miracle that has been accidentally embodied in the polyhedron is forced to stay here, captured by the flesh of the town that has nurtured it, feeding it with its resources, people, and hot blood. This flesh has become its womb and its prison. You're being too metaphoric. What does that have to do with my choice and the epidemic? Enslaved miracles die not out of anyone's malice. That is just their nature. You cannot hold a miracle with your hands. You can only hold its corpse. The idea is not new. Let us have a closer look at the disease, the embodiment of this logic. Is it good or evil? Why has it come to the town? Do you consider it to be good? Why did you come to the town at the same time then? You are by all definitions a hero, a miracle maker almost. It was the powers that be that have tried to make you detain a miracle here, not the poor obsessed Cains. They've only played their part. They represent their own force. But you, do you really want to go back to being a slave? The powers that be are bending you to submission according to their own design. You are obsessed with revenge. You are obsessed with revenge, Aglaia. Revenge is a bad companion in the search for the truth. Then tell him, Daniel. There he stands, waiting for your word, a puppet, just like. Guide his weapons. No one has heard a single word of recommendation from me yet. I'm relying on you completely, just like I said. And heed my warnings. I remember everything we talked about. Be silent.
If we're in the majority, the fragile polyhedron will be left untouched. Childhood will not dissolve into thick time, and we'll live the eternal wonder.
I knew you would come. When will you begin to execute your design, Maria? I have already begun, my Daniel. When the night falls and the wind scatters the smoke above the scorched earth, and the dust of the buildings demolished settles, you will see several new constellations light up in the sky. They will plunge their light towards us, and when the first specks of this light reach the constellations of the polyhedron, a miracle will happen. What will they be like? How are you going to call them? I'll see, but I expect them to be mostly red, ruby, scarlet, crimson, carmine, merlot, mahogany, vermilion, garnet, rose, pink, burgundy. Perhaps you may even notice something familiar in the structure of these constellations. Where will these constellations come from? They have existed for a long time already. People just couldn't see them before because their light was hurrying towards us from far beyond. Now the first rays of these stars are about to reach our surfaces. We will see their light reflected in the specular planes of the preserved polyhedron. What will become of your family, Maria? Perishing, burning down, dissolving without a trace. This is my family's destiny. It happened to my mother. It happened to Simon. Tomorrow, Georgi dies, and my father will fade out in a week. And in 10 years, when my town is complete, I will pass on in the same fashion. What will happen to the children? Will you expel them from the tower? There's nothing to be done about it. They have to free up the space for the new guests. My brother will become embittered, betray me, and rebel against me, but I will find a way to deal with him. He will cower behind Capella's back, willingly, when my mother's eyes frown and glare at him. Have you become a mistress already? No, I haven't. You won't see it here, unless you're planning to stay, of course. I can stay or leave. At this point, it makes some sense to stay. Everything he made back home was destroyed. He might as well commit to seeing how things turn out. I've considered the pros and cons. I'm staying. That might not be entirely binding. Hey, buddy. What's up?
Luck and temper rule the world.
So, Bachelor, it was neither greed, nor plotting, nor circumstances that have informed your choice, but your conscience alone. I've been given orders to level everything here, but if that's not necessary, I'm willing to trust your judgment, risking my life and honor, for I am merciful. Where shall I point the weapon? Oh boy, let's look at the options here. So right off the bat, we have the backing out option. Let the settlement be destroyed, but there's no reason to hurt the polyhedron. The survivors will find shelter there until we vaccinate them and the epidemic dies out. Does that mean destroy the entire city except the polyhedron? And then we rebuild the city? That seems to be the maiden's option, her plan. You only have to destroy the polyhedron and put an end to the disease spreading. There's no point in raising the whole town. There's no need to destroy anything. We can do all together without gunfire and preserve this world as it is. I've come to denounce my decision. There will be no decision. I forgo the right to make a choice. I will not decide the town's fate and present my arguments to you. It's interesting how the entire game can pass by, and it's all leading up to this choice, and to some extent I'm still not totally sure about the logistics of some of it. Huh. Destroying the entire town and hiding in the polyhedron just sounds stupid. Especially since, like, if they are infected, you're just asking for the church, you're asking for the cathedral encounter to happen again, where you jammed everyone in the cathedral and then they all died. That had the really weird explanation of like an angel descending down and killing them all, but also all of their stories contradict each other anyway. That was a weird one. Destroying the polyhedron seems reasonable. It's a wonder, but couldn't the Stamaton brothers just make new wonders? But this time this time just don't happen to stab them directly into the disease hole that causes bad things to happen. Like the polyhedron, like obviously there's the narratively they're all like the polyhedron is a miracle that was forced to stay, and that's against God or something. Which I'm not sure if I entirely buy that logic necessarily or what, but really what happened is it happened to stab into a disease tumor underground, and that caused this to happen. So just don't do that, and you're good, right? But maintaining the polyhedron, I'm not sure if they've done enough to explain to me what the value of the polyhedron is besides being a wonder. Also, do you need to destroy the entire polyhedron just to get rid of the base, which is what's causing the leak? Like, can't you just move the polyhedron or destroy its base and move the rest of it elsewhere and make a new base that isn't stabbing into the thing? Like, the nature of the disease leaking doesn't seem intrinsically tied to the existence of the polyhedron or the nature of the polyhedron necessarily. Not ready to make my choice yet. That is wise. You'll need a second chance. You will have neither a second chance nor a replay option. I advise caution. I'll keep it in mind. Did you just explicitly tell me you're going to delete my saves? Did he just do that? Did he say that? There will be no replay option. You just said that out loud. You're doing that fourth wall break thing, aren't you?
The town can be cleansed. I know how to make enough panacea now.
We have very different definitions of duty then. What is your duty, Oinen? My duty is to find out the truth and act in good conscience. This is what the powers that be and the Inquisitor have demanded of me, yet both of them have concealed the crucial truth.
I'm sick. The world is going dark.
I would still like to know how you're planning to keep this town intact. No, Bachelor, you will never understand this. You're very smart, but your intelligence holds you back. You will never come to understand my truth. Even though you're close to Maria and believe in Simon's abilities, you are still all too far from understanding the higher purpose of things, and my truth only comes together on that level. Both you and Burke are semi-literate simpletons. So why are you both pitying me? Why won't you respect my knowledge as much as I respect yours? Your victory is a victory of pure reason. Look, just like we all, you have reconstructed a picture of the whole universe and found the root of what happened. But your picture is austere and bare bones. You have merely come to understand the mechanics of the events. You are generally a mechanic of a medic. Who are you then? Me and Burke? We are different and much more profound. Believe me, your world is mechanically consistent and rational. You want to keep what is reasonable to keep and destroy what is necessary to destroy in order to complete your tragic mission with minimal risk. Are you laughing at me? I want to keep the polyhedron. What can be less logical? You want to keep the polyhedron out of respect for the kindred genius who has calculated the mechanics of a miracle trap. A contraption able to capture what should not be captured. The polyhedron is only a cold mathematical masterpiece made of glass to you. It's a very different thing to me. Clara, you're plain stupid. You've understood nothing.
Did you see anything?
You have nothing?
It will be as you choose.
I've already made up my mind. Let's not waste our time on unnecessary speeches. I am totally searching for additional context, though.
Slow and steady wins the race.
I've changed my mind, Burke. I'll make the choice myself. Then why have you brought me here? Just in case? In case something unforeseen happens. I'm just trying to dig for as much context as I can.
Neither the town nor...
Nope, that's the end. That's all we're getting. I gotta make a call based on that. I've hit quick save even though presumably it doesn't matter.
Must be tightened.
So my takeaway is the top option is the Bachelor option, right? The second option is the Haruspex option. Third option is the Changeling option. I'm a little confused. I thought they were talking about destroying the termitary or the abattoir. Now they're just talking about the settlement as a whole or the polyhedron. Those are the two options. I'm gonna say the Changeling's an idiot, and she sucks, and she's stupid, and she's bad at convincing people of things. If she wants me to not destroy anything, she needs to give me a reason, and she doesn't really do that. In fact, she mostly just insults me, which is a really weird strategy. Whereas the Haruspex, he's like, I can make panacea for everyone if we destroy the polyhedron. And the Bachelor, is the Bachelor going to preserve the polyhedron just for nostalgic and curiosity reasons? For personal ties to a few characters and because it's a Marvel? A Marvel can be recreated. My goal here is to save the city. You only have to destroy the polyhedron to put an end to the disease spreading. There's no point in raising the whole town. I'm surprised to hear that from you. Can you prove that it's a sensible choice? Haruspex will. I trust him. He will speak the language of the scary tales of our long-lost childhood, the language I've forgotten already. Let him tell you of his relationship with this tribal kin. That's the recipe for saving the town, as far as I understand. Now we shall speak with you, Artemy Burke. Bachelor Dankovsky, are you sure there's nothing else you'd like to tell me? I'm sure, Commander. The choice has been made. All right, I'm going with Burke. I feel like at this point, the Bachelor stepping aside makes sense. He's failed so many times and been wrong so many times and had entire days that have failed, or entire days that just set the stage for Burke to do something.
There's nothing to talk about now.
Where shall you go now, Oinen? Who will look you in the face? I was going to ask you the same. What is happening story-wise right now? Fine. Let the town remain. Let the broken circles come whole. Let the interrupted processes resume. The wisdom of life is superior to that of people, so life should be allowed to proceed in its due course. The Utopia is doomed. Feeble men should not be tempted with miracles. There's no point to forcibly preserve something whose very idea is destroyed by any kind of coercion. The tower, the reason, and the outset of the calamity will be demolished.
There's little
I think that's the end.
I'm sick. The world is going dark.
I'm looking forward to midnight. You are a midnight creature, aren't you?
If we're in the
No response.
That does it. I'm gonna break soon.
Wait and see the consequences of your decision. It will all be over by 12. Farewell, Commander. The fuck happens now? Do I just... Are we actually going back out into the open world and waiting for midnight to happen? In 4 hours? Why? Oh, alright. This game... doesn't... Huh. There's like 2 or 3 times in the story where time skips forward or you teleport. I'm kind of surprised that this ending doesn't feature that stuff happening. Like, they should almost teleport you to the meeting the moment it becomes 7 o'clock, no matter where you are. Just to seal a deal on how mandatory it is. There's no bed in your house? I just wanted to sleep. Having trouble remembering who has beds. It's fine. It will all be over by midnight. Damn it. I don't want to sleep until midnight because I'm afraid that I might miss the event of it happening. So I guess I'll sleep until 11 and then I'll politely wait for 5 minutes for midnight to strike. Whereas, at which time I'll be, I guess, looking at the I guess I'll look at the tower and just be like, hey, there it goes. Goodbye, tower. And whatnot. Let's sleep for 4 hours. It might just end with a cutscene. It's so odd. I have like the strangest feeling I did something wrong, but like I won, right? Like I explicitly saved the town from the plague. The thing I did at the end that saved everyone didn't kill anyone. Like, I straight up saved everyone, basically. And all I had to do is get rid of the polyhedron. It's an abrupt ending. It makes sense because all the cutscenes are really abrupt and brief in this game. There's very few of them in general. There might have even been size limitations on the disc when it was originally distributed, because stuff like Steam I don't think even existed yet. Wait, no. No, Steam existed. Right? I don't think the original game was on Steam though. I think only the HD version was or something. I don't know. But yeah. I guess we'll see. We have 2 more campaigns to check out, and I'm looking forward to, most of all, probably the part where they're supposed to have completely unique mechanics for the other characters somewhere in there. Also, when I was going into this game in this first place, what I read about these campaigns was that the Bachelor is the best one to play first because people are more forthcoming at explaining the town to you because you're an outsider, unlike the other 2 characters, but you also get the fewest answers and have the least understanding by the end of the campaign. So that might account for some of my confusion for certain things. To the point where the fucking changeling is just explicitly like, you don't understand anything at the end of the game, just explicitly. That said, people also say that the changeling campaign is like weirdly, seemingly incomplete or underdeveloped or something, so that's not... The irony there is palpable. But Haruspex, up next, is supposed to be the really good campaign, so looking forward to that. But also, can't lie, totally dreading just the sheer time investment. Oh my god. Guys, there's so much video game. It just keeps going and going. The opportunity cost is palpable. I also might be late at... I also question it, and I'm like, I don't know, I might be late at covering Pathologic 2. As exciting as it might be to cover it at launch, if I'm fresh off of Pathologic when it comes out, I might want to play another long-ish game in between, just to take a nice long break before I dive right back into so much more time being spent in that same universe for maybe another 100 episodes or something. You know, it's the Zelda problem, basically, where I play a bunch of Zelda and then everyone's like, play all this other Zelda, and then I played a billion Zelda, and then they're like, DLC came out for the first Zelda that set this whole thing off, and I'm like, fuck, man. you made me play Zelda nonstop for like a year straight. I don't know if I can take the fact that DLC came out. We'll just wait for a bit. I might feel that way by the end of finishing 3 campaigns of Pathologic, but I don't want to leave it incomplete. In fact, I would rather complete this game and never play Pathologic 2, I think, than leave this playthrough incomplete. I think it is preferable to finish it entirely, but I think I will probably play Pathologic 2 at some point. It just might not be at launch, just because timing maybe doesn't quite work out versus when it comes to my timing of playing this game, how long it is, and the timing of when the sequel comes out. But it also kind of depends on when the sequel comes out, because it doesn't have a release date, as far as last I've heard. It's an alpha, so they're working on it, and stuff's playable, but games can be in alpha for years, sometimes. And in my case, that'd be good news, but other people would not be psyched about that. Anyway, guys, see you next time. We'll see what Harospex's story is, which, in its own way, it's weird that I was able to kind of give him his victory, as far as I can tell, even though I wasn't playing as him, and now I can play as him. Maybe I'll give Bachelor his victory as the Haruspex. I don't know. That'll be interesting. We'll see.